Hold tight.
Hold on to your hats, boys.
Libers.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week.
A little bit old.
Without deep into Danny Roll, please don't clip that.
Been truly horrific having this season away from home.
I want goals.
Anyone would think that we rehearse this, and I guarantee that we haven't.
How poor do we have to be before it's happening? How much blood from this stone do we have to get?
The Wednesday Week.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week. A more mooted affair from my introduction tonight because I'm sleeping off, trying to work off a week's worth of all-inclusive, in which the last 3 days I couldn't drink anymore, so that's nice, isn't it? There you are. That's a great start, given the feedback we got online of me not saying that, and I've effed it up in the first 30 seconds. This week, Sheffield Wednesday have been in action twice in the league. First out against Bristol City, and then second, a away win that we'll get into at Coventry City for the first time in X amount of years, but more of that to come. Joining me tonight, I've got John, Charlie, and Ash. Ash is going to be the babe in the booth. He's going to be posting up your comments this evening, so please don't hesitate to get involved. I appreciate my hair looks like absolute trash, and I'm starting to get a little mustache, but I need to quell some rumors that I didn't get this mustache whilst in Turkey. In fact, I've come back with the same amount of teeth. I've come back. My ass is still the same size, the same amount of hair, if not probably less, because you know what flying's like. John, how's your week been? How's it been, pal? You all right?
Yeah, it's been good, thanks, mate. Yeah, obviously, we've had, like you said, at the top of the show, we've had a couple of games, haven't we, in the last 7 days? So we'll get into that. So I think we're all kind of pleased with the points tally from those last 2 games. And now we've got the dreaded international break. Love it or loathe it, haven't we? So.
Do you know what? When it comes to international breaks, I was looking forward to them under Danny Rule. Under Carlos, I used to hate them because I used to feel like it cost us a bit of momentum sometimes. But under Rule, I was like, we normally come out fighting after the international break, but the one that was prior to this one didn't happen. Charles, what about you this week? Have you been all right? Have you been treading the boards, or are you? What are you rehearsing for? Get a quick plug in.
We'll get a quick plug next week at the Library Theatre, Tuesday or Saturday, doing Blackadder at Sheffield Library Theatre. So,
do you have a cunning plan?
I don't have a cunning plan. I'm Queenie, so I don't have any cunning plan. I just chop everybody's head off. So.
Oh yes, of course.
Yes.
Is that's the first series of Blackadder, isn't it?
Second series. It's the Elizabethan one. So
you're Queen Elizabeth. Did she have like a really unique accent on that, or am I thinking?
She did.
I'm gonna need a blast
to replicate. Very hard.
I'm gonna need a blast of it, please.
If you don't get on, Daniel, then I'm going to have your head cut right off. Okay?
Wow.
That's how I talk. Do you
know what? I was ready to mock you quite wholeheartedly, and that was actually very good. I'll
was it one of the Richardsons who played the Queen?
Yeah. I can't remember her name, but yeah, I mean, she is inimitable. Like I can't do her to that standard at all. It's had to be my version. But
can you just do us a favour, Charlie? You just say you're all shit in the style of Queenie, as in Holly, or I want goals.
I want goals. Okay. I want goals. Don't clip that. Delete that. This is all for promo.
It's going in the credits next week. What about you, Smash? Have you been working? What you been doing? You've been grafting up the grafters?
Yes, mate. Yeah. Busy time at work. But yeah, enjoyed the last week, especially football wise. It's been good, hasn't it?
Well, I'll tell you what, I was going to use this opportunity to tell you a story about coming back off holiday, but I'm going to save that till the midway point because it's one of those things where you're like, am I the asshole here? And I think I am. And I think there's a lot of people out there listening, especially some of the feedback we've had online since our last show. I'm probably the asshole, yeah. So anyway, let's get into it. Let's get into the first game of the week away at Bristol City. Not a place where we tend to pick up a load of points. I've got a useful infographic, and for those listening, I will read it out. This is the starting lineup. We've got Beadle, Valerie, Palmer, Bernard, Famewo, Johnson, Shea, Charles, Bannon, Masaba, Windass, Ugbo. That was the starting 11. John, Palmer getting a start. Masaba still in the squad after I think Stevie dug him out last week, didn't he? I mean, not exactly not one I'd have gone for with terms of those players, but there was the three at the back and the the wing backs, as it were, the attacking wing. Well, I don't know what they call them nowadays. Wing backs in old money.
Yeah. It's,
something
yeah.
Danny's tried and tested, isn't it? I mean, what have you got any thoughts on that Palmer starting centre back?
Well, it's a position we've used him before, and he's done pretty well there, hasn't he? He's, Mr. Versatile, isn't he, Palmer? As we all know, he's played midfield, he's played right back, he's played centre half, and I think Danny likes to employ that three at the back with wingers pushing on. Probably more natural to Johnson pushing on than Valerie as such. But I think Valerie's shown he can actually put some good crosses in there. But I think you like Valerie for his recovery as well and helping out in the back four. Masaba, it looked like Kabatske was knocking on the door, didn't it, for a start? But Masaba retains his place. So maybe Danny's just, not quite well, at that point wasn't quite ready to make the change. But Masaba's always got that threat of his pace, hasn't he, as much as anything. And Ugbo's, let's be honest, he's struggled a little bit, hasn't he, since re-signing? He's not firing, is he, yet, for whatever we've paid for him, $3.5 million rumoured or whatever it is. But he gets a start up top with Josh on the left. So a couple of surprises given like performance, as we just said with Masaba and Ugbo as well. But a couple of surprises there for me. Yeah.
Now, Chaz, John picked up on there. Ike Ugbo not really firing all cylinders since he signed, but there's also there was a question mark, and there was a bit of an article about it in the Star this week, or it might have been Sheffield Wednesday transfer rumours as I was doing my my holiday reading, that Jamal Lowe, since the first game of the season, since he was absolutely outstanding, I genuinely thought he was the missing link and what we were looking for, and then really gone off the boil. Do you feel like this was a form substitution to because Ugbo's been coming off the bench a good amount this season, probably due to fitness and things like that. But Lowe getting stood down, I felt was it harsh on him, or do you feel like it was time for EK to step up?
I think the difference is one of them we've paid $3 million for, and one of them we haven't. And I think for me, like, Lowe did have a fantastic debut, as did they all. So I think in many ways, as much as I hate to say it, if we're going to write off the big losses, I think we also need to sort of say that maybe that first game of the season was a bit fluky as well. I don't know. Like, no one has been as good as they were on that day necessarily, or at least, like, I would say, like, out of kind of the new starters. But I think Lowe not performing quite as expected does worry me less, I think, in a way than Ugbo, because Ugbo would always be a starter for me. So, like, Lowe is like an option off the bench if he's not banging the goals in. Ugbo worries me. We paid for goals. We paid for goals that we're not getting. I don't think he's playing badly, though. I will say, like, there are lots of moments where he's in the right place at the right time, and there's some good build-up. Like, I thought he was quite good against West Brom in places, but overall, we paid him to do what he was doing for us when he came in last season. And at a certain point, you do start to worry that, like, he's come with a big price tag and he's not necessarily smashing the goals in. If we'd had a really rough week as well, if we'd have been getting battered, if we'd have lost both away games, whatever, you really would start to be asking questions of him. You'd really start to be worrying where those goals are coming from. As it happens, they are coming from elsewhere, which is good, but sooner or later, he's going to have to earn his keep a little bit.
Earn his keep. I enjoy that. Ashley, what are the interwebbings saying?
I think we're just talking about Ugbo. Mad Ward I think Ugbo just needs a goal for confidence, then he'll be firing. Said that all the time, don't we? We strikers, don't they? A bit like just need one goal to start the season off, and that'll be it. Blair's on, and his Ugbo used to twat it from anywhere. He stopped doing that.
Technical term.
Yeah, Craig, I think Ugbo struggled for service, to be honest. Also, maybe better with a strike partner.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. They've so much last season, to be honest. So many of his great goals came from beautiful crosses in, and just that kind of intelligent sort of reading, like him and Johnson, like, had some good moments. So yeah, like, he's not a liability. You don't watch him play and you go, what the hell is he playing at? It's just not quite coming to fruition yet. But, it's still early days, and I agree. I think that first league goal will hopefully make a big a big difference.
I think his work rate though has been all right. It's not like he's come across as, I don't know, like really unfit, lazy, and thing. I think he has put himself about a bit, and it's just not falling for him. And see, it will. I'm sure of it.
I think what the comment there about service issue might be the defining one, because if you think back to Ugbo's goal against Millwall, when Masaba did all that work down that left-hand side and Ugbo was there marauding down on the goalkeeper and boshed it in, or the one where he scored a couple where he took a couple of steps back, Rotherham being a notable one where he took a couple of steps back after marauding into the box, dropped one back and swept it in. He's not had any of those crosses in. I think we've discussed at length on this show that Masaba and Gasama tend to just hold on to the ball one or two touches too many, and those hit the byline and cut it back, crosses aren't coming in, and that's what Ugbo kind of thrives on, if I'm honest. Windass likes a through ball, but I just don't feel like we're playing the right football right now for EK Ugbo to put one in. But anyway, that was the starting lineup. Sorry, Ashley, go on.
So no, it's a bit strange, though, isn't it, that you brought a striker in on loan who, let's be right, kept us up. And then you bring him in, like a lot of fans would have been calling for him to sign. And then you're going to either not play to his strengths or play the way he's used to and play a different way, and then bring him in and expect him to hit the ground running. I suppose the way that Danny Rule wants to play with the low is a little bit different, and it's not as cross heavy, if you know what I mean. Yes, we've scored quite a couple of goals this season from a cross, but I think it is purely the way that they're playing rather than Ugbo being in a slump and he's not trying and he's missing everything. I can't recall, but we haven't cried, oh my God, Ugbo's missed it. Do you know what I mean? We haven't had one of those where he's spooned it from 5 yards or something.
Yeah, there was one a couple of weeks back where I think Windass put one in and he just managed to get a nose to it and end up blazing over. But you're right, Ash, that's the closest we've got to doing it. And I think it was still probably a foot away from the ball. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now, John, in recent weeks, we've spoken a lot about the start of a game, about how Sheffield Wednesday come out the traps. We're at them for the first 10, 15 minutes and we're constantly chasing them down. And then the pressure kind of alleviates somewhat and then we end up losing, essentially. Yeah. And it's happened quite a lot this season. This was a different way round. I felt that Bristol City in the first half looked like they were going to be the ones that were going to score. Had it not been for James Beadle in that first half, from my count, I think he made 3 really good stops in that first half. They looked like they took the game to us and we rode our luck a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah, to a degree, I think we did. I don't think it was a game littered with like clear-cut chances. When you look at the stats, they only had 2 shots on target to our 1, so it wasn't a game that was littered with like clear-cut opportunities. But out of the 2 teams, if there was anyone that was looking more likely to actually score, then you'd have to say it was Bristol at that point, the way that they came out of us. And like as you say, fair play. I think Beadle he's starting to put in the performances that show you why he's so highly thought of and so why Brighton so highly rate him. Obviously, off the back of the performances with us as well, he's got called up to England under 21 games in successive games, I believe, as well. So Beadle, for all some of the, I wouldn't say criticism, but for some of the obvious flaws of last season, when being a young rookie keeper and cutting his teeth at this level, you can see that after having a season under his belt with us, that now he's starting to look like a really, really good, solid, a really good young Championship keeper with a big future, isn't he? And he most certainly kept us in that game. And probably was man of the match. But like I said, it wasn't a game that was littered with chances. But fair play to Beadle because he did make some quality saves in that game.
Yeah, there was one notable one early doors in the first half that could have gone awry. Not a lot to write home about. Go on, Ash. Sorry, Paul.
Mate. No, I was sorry. No, carry on, mate. Sorry, I've lost it. Sorry, apologies.
I'll put some adverts in or something. But I tell you what, there was a comment that you posted up earlier on there, Ash, about the away fans chanting Beadle's name. Did that happen? That's absolutely incredible. Thank you, Neon Brown, for getting involved. Now, Neon Brown's listened to this show for a number of years. He's watched the evolution of Dan Fudge, going from doing the knob gags and the Little Mix banter to stood here saying hello, good evening, welcome. Now, Chaz, not a lot to write home about, was there? I mean, that we needed a rocket at half time. Do you feel like it's a weird one, isn't it? Because you feel like Danny doesn't come across as the type of guy who's going to give the hairdryer treatment out at halftime, does he? But there's been a few times where you sat there thinking, I wish he did.
This is it. Like, it was, I'd took a point before kickoff, and I were happy with the point we got. And I think sometimes it's easy to underestimate what an achievement that is in of itself. Go away to midweek, get a point. But I think you at least want to look like you've earned it. And I think in that first half, well, I wouldn't say they had our pants down. It was very negative football. It was very mopey. It really lacked a lot of energy, and it was boring. And it's like, you can have more fun getting your team getting beaten sometimes than you would watching stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, at least there was some. I think Ash said it in our chat, like something like at least Millwall had goals, and it's like, yeah, like it might be shit. At least we're not losing, but at the same time, like, frig all was happening. It was a bit of a worry as well, because it did kind of, after the high of a big win, you did kind of think, God, are we just not? Can we not consistently maintain any level of quality game to game? How are we playing like this when we've just played against top of league? But there was a real turnaround. I was going to say at the interval. At the interval, at half time. Sorry, I'm so theatrical. I just totally forgot where I was there. I wear many hats. There was a huge difference, and I think, while it still was, they're not going to be making bloody movies about it. It was a notable improvement, and that in itself was positive for me. That we can go, oh dear, we were playing shit. Let's turn that around a bit. And yeah, it was then a hard-earned point on the road, as they say, as opposed to a Christ, I'm glad that's over point.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think given the way the first half went, coming away with a point was actually a positive. I think in the second half, Ash, I think Barry had a chance, didn't he? He kind of tried to flash one into the far beans on toast, and it just blazed past the post. That's the only real thing we had going forward, didn't we? And then Beadle made another great save at the other end. I think he had 4 really world-class outstanding saves, right?
I think I watched it. I was going to go, but I'm so glad I didn't. But I watched it at home, and on the balance of it, 0-0, 1 point away, Bristol City. It is a hard place to go, literally and metaphorically. But yeah, and I want to give a big shout out, and you guys, everyone follow and listens and stuff when we do our man of the match poll. It was between Beadle and Bernard came out winner. He won that, so he came back after his enforced break, should we call it? And I thought it was immense. I thought he put his body on the line. He made some good interceptions, and I think he contributed a hell of a lot to them only having 2 on target. And which Beadle, obviously, he kept his clean sheet, which he thoroughly deserved. Yeah, I mean, I think I was just going to come to. I think John's just put it on here that there was a chance for Gasama.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, not a chance for Gasama, but a foul on Gasama, and it was like, we've had this running joke now for all Wednesday fans about the penalty incidences and lack of. I thought it was a penalty, but I can see why it wasn't. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Weird. I think what's the road tinted spectacles and all that, because we do want a penalty. We are looking at every incident and every glimpse of getting it, and I was like, yeah, 100%, yeah, rerun it back, definitely, come on, no, and then you look again and you're going, oh. So I think for me, Bristol City, like I say, I don't think we've won there for a few years either. I think it's a good result, 0-0. It keeps us unbeaten going into, obviously, the next game against Coventry. I thought Bernard was excellent for his break.
When you think of, is there any more of a championship fixture than Bristol City away? You just think Bristol City away, and then brackets championship. You just go hand in hand.
I don't know. I always think West Brom and Middlesbrough and Preston. Like,
West Brom have got up and down for that. Then 5 or 6 seasons they were boing baggies, weren't they? Up and down. And I think I had this discussion at work today. It was like Bristol City. You know you're not going to get promoted. You know you're not get relegated. To be a Bristol City fan, yes, you're stable.
Dream. Just
middle.
Just
coasting.
No
Might be
drama,
on gardening leave
man.
or something, isn't it? Yeah.
Just playing football. Sometimes good, sometimes not so good. That's the dream.
Yeah, I think Ben's just said Preston as well.
Yeah, it's another one. Yeah,
it's just one of those, isn't it? But you know, we've got to take the rough with the smooth. You can't just be like horizontal, can you? And just go in and that's it. You want a bit of excitement in your life, don't you?
Let's have some online content. Let's clip this, and I'm going to ask, who is the most championship team? When somebody says championship, what team do you think of? Because I don't think it's us. But me personally, I go with West Brom, Middlesbrough, or Preston, something like that. But there must be somebody out there that you go championship. You know what I mean? If you'd have asked me 2 years ago, I'd have probably said Reading. But that's not going too well, is it? Ashley, before I wrap this up, then what are the Mandems saying?
Craig's said Millwall mid-tier championship forever. Matt's Blackburn.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
Premier League winners, though.
That would have been my choice, I think.
Yeah. Jay Blogs has come with Bristol and Preston, so I think we're all getting the same sort of vibes there, aren't we? That Wicker Man has said Wolves for a while, not now though. But Millwall and Bristol. I think the ones mentioned, but I mean, not Rotherham up and down, aren't they? From the League One Championship, Sheffield United, obviously Premier League last few years down. I'm going to. Yes, I am going to say Bristol. Sorry, we played them. Or Coventry, but we'll get on to that.
We'll get on to Coventry. Now, before we do, some people are going to try and sell you things. But before they do try and sell you things, I'm going to ask you to vote for us in the Football Content Awards. If you look at our social medias from today, and if you go into the link tree at the top of our profiles on things like X and Instagram, the top option that you've got there is to vote for us in the FCAs. No sign up needed, and you can do it in 4 clicks. If you go down to Best Club Content Creator and go to the EFL one, click the Wednesday week, tick the box and press vote. That's all you have to do. It's done with. Because if I pay some Russian bots to start buying me some votes and we get caught, Ash will absolutely string me up by my test of clay. So I'm not allowed to do that. I'm under strict instructions. But in the meantime, some other people are going to try and sell you something. And we're back. It's a good marker to put the adverts in. I kind of want a clapperboard or something like that. Now, as promised earlier at the top of the show, Ash, I'm probably going to know what your thoughts are on this. But Chaz, John, I want you to try and imagine the scenario. Now, Chaz, being a content consumer like myself, constantly looking online for content, I am obsessed with this video. This little dog running around, the one that goes, "I'm alive, I'm dead, I'm looking at you, fuck you." You know what I mean, right? That video lives in my head rent-free all day. It just literally spins round and round. So I'm in the queue, and it's one of those god-awful, terrible trash airlines, Wizz Air. And the guy was being really overzealous coming out from behind the counter because they had to get in that god-awful queue, to check in to get your ticket. That's always just ridiculously long. I'll make it quick. And he was making everybody put their bag in that little metal thing. So I put mine in when he was serving the people in front, and I showed him, and look, we made eye contact, stuff like that. And as we'd gone up, passports in, and as I went to take the tickets off him, he kind of snatched his hand away like a dad doing a crap gag, like with a 5-year-old. You know what I mean? And anyway, it made me put my bag back in the cage thing, and I went, "Yeah, fuck you," like that dog. And as the guys turned around, this big Turkish fella's now swole up to me, like he's puffed up like a buffer, goes, "What you fucking said to me?" And I'm like, and I, quick as a flash, I said, "Thank you. What you doing?" And then he shepherded back. Yeah, having said it out loud, yeah, I'm the asshole on that one.
You told an airline person, "Fuck you," when they suspiciously put your bag back in the thing. But, you're trying to not look like a wrong-in.
But I guess why I'm bringing that up on here, it's one of the things like, when
Have you seen Midnight Run, Fudge?
when you're like, the truth is more ridiculous than the way they've perceived
Yeah, that's
the
not going to
scenario.
stand up in court. Oh, sorry, I was thinking of a dog off TikTok.
Have you seen this video
Please
of this
don't send
dog?
me to Turkish jail.
Anyway,
I'm
let's
sorry.
move on.
Sorry,
That's a
Dan.
nice little respite from football because I'm trying to tread water, ladies and gentlemen, before we get to what's been one of our best results in a number of years. I will get the lineup for you, John. Now, we've got Johnson was rested, having started against Bristol City. Palmer rested. Paul Valentin who's absolutely rapidly becoming into one of my favourite players. Ugbo dropped for Jamal Lowe getting back in the team, and Masaba dropped for the Gassman. Lots happening, lots to unpick there. Do you feel like it was enforced changes in terms of form, or do you feel like it's Danny still shuffling his pack to try and find out what his best 11 is?
Little bit of that, but also a little bit of trying to rotate the squad and keep a bit of freshness there. I mean, it went from 3-4-3 to 3-4-2-1 in this game, and obviously with the changes that you just mentioned there. So Valentin's coming in. Yeah, you've got Lowe for Ugbo, and obviously Gasama instead of Musaba. So Gassman instead of old Tony there. So and Charles and Bazza in the middle looked to be a solid pairing. But what I did like, which was like a rollover from the previous game, is that this little partnership that's going on with Bernard and Famewo, they're looking really solid together, aren't they? Whether they're going in a back three, a back five, or even a back four, they are really starting to gel together, and I'm liking that. And obviously, with what Beadle showed at Bristol City as well, it's given us three real solid, defensive options there. And I was glad to see that he stuck with them. And I think Bernard had a little bit of hangover from the Copa America, but I think he's shaken that off now, and I think he's coming back to the kind of form that had us desperate to sign him sort of to a back end of last season.
Like Ash says, his enforced break might have done him some good. Might have given him a bit of a rest. Yeah,
definitely. And shape-wise, I thought it looked really good and really solid because you know that Valentin will get up and down on that right-hand side. And obviously Lowe coming back in, that's what we've asked him to do as well. So it gave us options going forward, but also maintain the good shape in defence there. So it looked, I like the look of it pre-kickoff. I like the look of the formation, and I understood completely why I switched it around with some of the players just to keep it fresh, because Championship's relentless when you start getting into Tuesday, Saturday. So you've got to do it, haven't you? You've got to.
I think there's probably a few wallets aching out there in internet land as well, thinking, Christ, what do you mean 2 away games in the same week? Chaz, there's something I wanted to bring up, because there's a lot of love for this partnership right now in Shay Charles and Barry Bann in the middle of the park. When it first happened, when we first signed Shay Charles, we spoke on this show quite a lot about there needs to be another. There needs to be a defensive midfielder in that little triangle. And I feel like the first game that they played might have been Millwall, and Shay just wasn't up to where he is now, if I'm honest. And all of a sudden, we've kind of gone, all right, so it's like Shay Charles has gone, right, so that's how Barry plays. This is my role here. And all of a sudden, Shay's turned into a different player, hasn't he?
Definitely. Chaz and Baz, coining that. I think they complement each other, and I think my favorite thing about Charles as a player is a lot of the time he doesn't draw a lot of attention to himself because he's just grinding, like he's just doing what he needs to do. He's not, he's not necessarily doing anything flash. He's doing what he needs to do, and I think that works really well, because I think what you often see with Bannon is when he's flustered, that's when he makes mistakes, and he doesn't make a lot of mistakes, but when he's trying to cover the entire frigging pitch, but he's only like 4 foot tall and he can't. That's frustrating to watch, because it's like, why is he trying to mop up everything else? So to see him with another safe pair of legs, as it were, it's really, really telling at how much better they both play with each other. I think as well, I think it's meant that Bannon can play that more creative role as well. He can be a little bit more creative because he knows that it's not just on him to kind of do everything. And I think as well, I think Charles is a very intelligent player as well. I mean, we'll talk about the goal, but his ability to kind of read the people around him and start to, because I mean, when they put that Bannon 100 goal contributions video out, I obviously watched the whole thing because I was at work. What else was I going to do? And there were so many of them that happened in like blocks with like the same kind of person. So like you saw a lot of like him and Fletcher and da-da-da. And I think like it's obvious that Bannon works best when he's got like a guy. And I think I quite like Johnson and Bannon. I think they often have a good like little bit of work there. But I really do think we're seeing a beautiful friendship between Charles and Bannon. And I really think it makes them both play better. Like they really clearly bring the best out of each other, and it's great to see.
Yeah, I think you're right. When Bannon is reassured by the players that are next to him in their quality, all of a sudden I think he's an absolute cut above. Because I feel you're right, Chaz. I don't feel like he tries to do too much when he goes, all right, this geezer knows what he's doing. I'm okay. You know what I mean? And I kind of get that to an extent. Ashley, sorry, mate, I've not come to you in a while. I've just thought you're at the back end of my rotation. My apologies. Do you have anything to add about the lineup and what are the internetings chirping?
I just want to start with my day on Saturday. Just give you
go for it. Thing. Tell me all about it.
I want to give a big shout out to Christ the King FC. Christ the King FC, a local Coventry football team where I parked. Well, I didn't. My mate parked his car, and then we walked into the clubhouse to have a bit of a beverage before the game. Very reasonable prices, got to say, and it was lovely. Very warm welcoming from the hosts, and he had a couple of beers and some food, and it was spot on. 10-minute walk from the ground. So next season, if we're in the same division, then I recommend it. And we haven't got paid for that or anything, so it's not an ad. It was just nice to see.
Sorry, they're called what?
Christ the King FC.
Christ the King FC.
Yes.
Have you joined a cult? And are you sure it wasn't funny flavored Kool-Aid you were drinking?
No, Callum Wilson, I believe, played for him because they had
got a good team spirit.
But a bunch. Callum Wilson, because they had his shirt, one of their shirts, a Coventry City shirt signed, and an England shirt signed. So I think he's one of their alumni. But they had loads of shirts up, all hung up and signed by different players, like Chris Waddle, all the greats. Chris Woods.
Up there. Wow.
Who else? Oh, who was the other? Oh, the other Chef Wednesday folklore hero, Jay Bothroyd.
Blasphemy.
So and then had a few beers, walked down to the ground. Yeah, very good. So yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah, the starting lineup, no complaints. We know the rigors of the playing 3 games in 7 days. I know some was enforced, Kabachi and Palmer, both out, and I know it was a bit of a changed thing, but I had no issue with it, even though we know what the score was. I'm sure if we'd have got spanked 3-0, I'd have been effing and jeffing. But I think the only thing that I was surprised at, and surprised in a good way, was Fanti Ingleson on the left. I thought he played really well on the left. Obviously, he had a cracking game in his debut against Plymouth, and he's been a bit out of sorts, I think, is the word. I don't want to be slagging the guy. He's new, isn't he, in the country, in the Championship. But I thought he did really well. I thought he won quite a few headers. He turned. He looked attacking without the pace of Gasama, Misaba, and Kabaski. I thought he did really well. Obviously, came off later on, but impressed with that. No complaints. I mean, the back three of Famewo, Valerie, and Deshaun Bernard. It's looking good. I've got no complaints. I think Famewo, for me, over the last month, even though we've had some dodgy results, of course, but I think he's been one of the most improved players for me. And instead of him playing, I think he started off at left back, and that's not his position. His left centre back is his position, especially the 3. I think he's been a revelation, to be honest. I think him and Bernard, and then any one of whoever on the right, if it's going to be Orfa, Palmer, Valerie, I'm happy with that, I think.
Well, there's nobody on our side that's going to take his shirt off him, so just down to Coventry City player to try and take it, weren't it, instead?
I'll tell you what. Let's get into the to the match itself. Ash, if you don't mind chucking the comments of as we go. What's that one there?
Fuck 'em bollocks, man. I was quite enjoying this pod, and then Ash mentioned Dave Bothroyd.
That's fair. That does induce in F&B. And I go. We got some away fans on.
Secret Glenn, the secret Wednesday eye, he's on. I did give him a shout out on Hello from the Other Side, he's on. He said after last season's quadruple, you were due a win for us.
Yeah. He said that though, but I mean, I know we've been in different divisions, but we have won there for 29 years or something stupid, haven't we? So I mean, I don't know about a due a win.
I love that though, that we've been carrying off this week, and they're only winning now 4-1. In the last 10 months or something like that, but we're having this one. We're having it. It's happening now. John, I tell you what. Look, not a lot to talk about in terms of build up. They've got a couple of lively players. Not a lot, bit of a half chance. But the first major talking point was their goal, and I must admit it was such an odd goal to concede. I couldn't work out if it was slack or it was absolutely bloody brilliant.
I think when I was watching it live, I was getting really frustrated that nobody went to close him down. Was it Rodoni, their player? He just got the ball and they just ran and they just biked off and they just biked off and they just biked off. To be fair, it was a really good finish because when you look at it, it was really in the corner. So it was fair play to Rodoni. It was a cracking finish, but you can't let him run at you like that. I think Danny Rule would have been fuming on the sidelines with that one because you just can't give him that time and space, can you? Yeah, and he has been a little bit like that in role in recent games where his emotions are coming out a lot more. I mean, obviously there's a bit at the end of the game as well, different emotion. But yeah, I was disappointed with that goal. I thought it's one of them goals where if you're just going to invite him on like that, then you're going to get punished, and we did. So yeah, definitely not covered ourselves in glory in that first goal.
Go on, Ash. I've got note to add. Like it just, I can't work it out. I mean, where do you sit on it?
I thought it was a good goal. I think it was slack defending, but the guy he chested it down. And the ball come up, he chested it down. He'd had time to turn and run at us, and then he just ran. And then it seemed like I was at the far end. My eyes aren't very good. It just seemed like it rolled in slow motion, and it was like, oh, Beadle, you should have got that. Whereas it was right in the corner, maybe, and it went through like defenders were coming out across, and the ball got put in just behind them. So I think he were unsighted a little bit. So I think for all the praise we were giving him against Bristol City, maybe could have done better. But
I've seen it from another angle. Having seen it from initially, I was like, that was really sloppy from Beadle. But actually, having watched it from kind of like the behind the goal view, it is a great finish, and he puts a lot more pace.
I was the other way, Chaz. I was the other way
around. I feel like Beadle goes the right way and
goal.
Misses. Yeah, I agree that it looked like it took a bit of deflection. It's terrible defending. Like I do not defend the defending. The defending was shite, but I think it was on Twitter it was like Beadle, Jesus Christ, Beadle, and I think that's a little bit harsh on him. Personally, I think. For me,
I don't think it was when, like you said, Charlie, that shot was perfect. If you want to look at how accurate the actual goal was, because it wasn't like your Thunderbolt daisy cutter or whatever. It looked like it had been rolled in. And you're like, how's that gone in from there? From the side angle, camera shot, it looked like what's Beadle doing there? But when you look at it from behind the goal, I mean, it was inch perfect, really. And if Beadle's a couple of steps too far one way, he's not getting it, is he? So. But I think we should have just
I was the other way. I was like, when I saw it from behind the goal, I was like, Christ, Beads, what? That's rubbish. And then when I saw it from the side angle, the match of the debut, as it were, I was like, is it that quite well? I'll get it to him. It's probably going quicker than I'll anticipate. But it's weird that you guys have gone the other way. Actually, this goal. Let's get to the Gassman's goal because.
Just before that, with Charles had one keeper. Their keeper made a cracking save from about 8 yards out, and he just dived to his right, and it was a great save. So yeah, we did have a chance.
I didn't see that. I've not got that written in my notes. I've got like, because I got accused of doing no prep. I've got like a full page of notes. Right.
So not only have you done prep, you've done shit prep.
I've done prep. Apparently, it was just a fool's errand. So, Ash, let's get to this goal because I'm really. I tell you what, it genuinely fills me full of joy to talk about a goal like this because it's happened the last couple of weeks. Now, notably again away at Leicester last season, we got caught out on the playing it out from the back, and everybody's had their opinions on it. And then, during the pre-season, we got told it's not going anywhere, it's staying. But this goal came from an absolute hoofball right from the keeper, didn't it, Smash?
Yeah, what's the old term? Route one, was it? Is it?
Yeah. Old school Sunday league. Bosh.
But it came from shy defending from them, weren't it? I think they knocked it down and Jamal Lowe got onto it, and he's just first instinct played Gasama in. And you mentioned it earlier, Dan. We and quite a few have been critical of Gasama and Masaba taking a couple of 2 extra touches, not crossing it or cutting back in on the other foot. And then he thought, "Fuck it, I'm gonna thunder." I'm not saying the word. Thunder chop it. Thank you, John. Yes, and he just put his head down, laces it, and it's gone in, and it's a cracking finish. I've only seen like the replay. I ain't seen any other angles, like from behind the goal or anything like that. So I don't know how close the keeper was or anything, but I think we are guilty of not doing that very often. I know Bannon scored a couple of cracking goals on it, but just taking his chance and just hitting it quite early as well. Probably kept the keeper weren't expecting it, but I thought it was a cracking goal. And I tell you what, when Masaba and Gasama both came to the club, I thought Masaba was miles ahead of Gasama. In his development and where he's come from and everything. I tell you what, I'm thinking Gasama is turning into a neat little player, isn't it? I'm like him.
If you could just get them to play together, that'd be key, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
Gerrard.
Yeah. Exactly that. I tell you what, though, Chaz, that I absolutely adore this goal, and I think because Gasama's big old marauding forward and elbowing the defender out of the way and sticking it in near post top bins.
Oh.
I mean, in terms of things that's happened in this goal, the little pass from Jamal, I thought was absolutely beautiful.
It'll get forgotten a little bit because of how good the shot is, and not to take away from the goal, but it's that lovely instinctive, but because I think especially last season and anytime we miss our chances, it's usually because you don't want to be accused of blasting it over. It's really frustrating to watch. Like, why did you take a shot from there, you idiot? You should have crossed it and And then I think that ends up getting in people's heads and they get a bit. So I almost expected when Lowe took it off him, and he really did just take it off him, like he sort of yoinked it. It was a real I'll have that. I almost expected him to then try and almost go left to try and cut in, and I was a bit like, ugh, and he didn't. It was just really cleanly spotted him, beautiful little pass, and that was so good that it was such a good assist for that goal. Does that make sense? Like he needed a nice sexy pass for a nice sexy goal. I think my favorite thing about the goal was there's at least a good, if you watch the angle back, there's at least a half-second delay before people cheer, because I think there's just it hits and everyone goes, holy shit, that was in. Like, it's amazing. Like, people aren't, it wasn't like the Charles goal where it was like, come on, oh my god, yay, it was in. It was just this there was a moment of disbelief because we don't really tend to score sexy goals like that quite a lot. It was just absolutely stunning and a great timing too. Again, great story. Right before half time is just a great time to score a goal like that, because it really did kind of knock them down. They'd really been on top, and they got that goal, and it was all a bit, you know what we're like when we go a goal down. So yeah, it was just it was great, and great for him to get that goal as well. You just hope that it's one of them now. Now that you can do it, we'll have it every week.
they do say, don't they? 45 plus 3 weren't it? And then we scored. They do say it's a great time to score. And I totally agree with that, Charlie. They were on top, but not anything, they weren't really causing us that many issues. They had a lot of possession, and I think them, and I'll say it, them time wasting their keeper at 1-0 up in the first half.
Crazy.
that's just a joke.
I love it when time wasting backfires.
But-
Sorry, John, you
Oh,
were
yeah.
going to ask something.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I thought that we were the better side after they'd scored. We came alive after their goal, and we started to impose ourselves on the game. Like I say, yeah, there were obviously a bit of gamesmanship, running off for drinks breaks. What's that about? That should have ended in COVID. I mean, that were a COVID thing, that weren't it? And you're supposed to do it when it's over 20 odd degrees, not at the beginning of October.
Bloody woke nonsense.
So that were a load of crap, weren't it? But then, after their goal, I thought we started to come really into it, and I thought if we don't score, we deserve a goal here before half time. And so to see Gasama score in that fashion were brilliant, because it's one of them balls that when he plays it and you're like, go on, son, have a crack, go on. And he cracked it, and he took it so early that keeper never got time to set himself, and it just rifled in. And goals like that always look great, don't they? I mean, you can have a nice, tiki-taka Arsenal 40-pass move and somebody slides it in at post untouched, but when you just thunder chuff it like that and it just rifles in back at net, it's like,
After a long ball.
On. It's the heavy metal guitar solo of goals, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's just like everybody's into it. Yeah,
he's got his foot up on the monitor, just thrusting in your general direction. Big fan, big fan. I tell you what though, like it's night and day from what we were literally in this podcast. Like, you know what I mean? So we were talking, is Jamal Lowe off the boil? He needs to get back involved. Gasama takes it one touch too many. I don't know about this playing out from the back. It was hoof, lovely little ball. Bosh, you know what I mean? It was everything opposite to what we've been saying about those exact players. Actually, just before I get to Shay Charles's finish towards the end, you're there. I can imagine it's quite tentative. The game's winding down. Let's say we've got to about 85 minutes. Would you have taken, hand on heart, a point away at Coventry at this point, or did you feel like it were coming?
No, 100%. I took a point. I'm.
You're the pragmatic one.
Yeah, I am. If I knew what that meant. I think it was. It was one of them. The ref was having a bit of a stinker, and I know online after the event, the Coventry City fans were proper kicking off again. But I didn't feel that at all for the ref. I thought there was more on their side. I mean, they had some silly yellow cards. They were a bit petulant, and I think
it was a tear up as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, I was going to say that the Famewo thing was absolutely ridiculous. I've seen it. I didn't catch it live. I went to the little boys' room. I'll admit that. But I have watched it back on the highlights. I had a couple of pints, and I'm at an age now when I need to go more regular.
You were at Christ the King FC chucking them back.
He'd not got his tenements on. He had to get himself back.
But I've watched it back, and they reckon Famewo did a little stamp on Asante, I think his name was. It was 6 of one, half dozen another, but I really do think the guy was lucky. I don't know why he gave them both a yellow.
That was a bit ridiculous.
He started it, and I don't think like Dan's favourite one, where Famewo was trying to get up off the floor, and it was a penalty against Oxford. You know, all that. I think Famewo was hard done by with that, to be honest.
It's funny as well because right after it was all over, Asante kind of came up and was like, "Oh yeah." Like they seem, I might have like missed it, but they seemed to like, it was just two guys having a bit of a wrestle, and it was like, you're all right. Like it was really random, but yeah, something for the ladies,
Now, Chaz, I'm gonna give you the honor of talking about this goal. Now, as I said, right, we've had Jamal Lowe's all of a sudden turned up. We've got Gassman who's not taking it one touch too far. And then we spoke about Masaba breaking away against Millwall and putting it in. I thought Masaba's run, marauding down on that defence, and once again giving it up when he should have done, was absolutely beautiful for this goal. So everything that we've said in the first half of this pod is now obsolete.
You've got to imagine that he listens to us every week. He's got us on and he's going, maybe I should stop being so selfish with the ball. Listen, can I set you the scene of to where I was in this goal, right? For the whole match. I was in It's not a Sheffield United pub by any stretch of the imagination, but it generally does seem to frequent more United fans than Wednesday fans. So it's always a bit of a dodgy one for me to watch the match, and so I have to kind of keep it on the hush hush. And usually we're doing shite, so no, I'm just another miserable looking person in a pub. I just about held it together.
Hang on, Chaz. We've seen you doing your little Scrappy Doo impression. We know how wound up you get. You can't watch football and not get carried away.
So I was outside. We were sat outside, and for the first goal, I just about covered it up. But for the second goal, when it came in, I literally dropped my phone on the table and just did like 3 lengths of the beer garden. So if I were ever going to get lynched, it were going to be at that exact moment. It was so perfect, and it was exactly the kind of goal that could have not happened because Musaba didn't give it him. And that sounds awful. It sounds like I'm criticizing him. I'm not. But how often have we seen, for God's sake, man, just pass it to the guy that's there? And he did. It was absolutely fluid, and he even he almost went slightly with it before he passed it to just wrong foot their defender, that little tiny bit. It wasn't just hit and hope he gets on the end of it. It was so perfectly done. And then for Charles just to slot it home, it was just amazing. And his reaction was brilliant, because I'm sure he did have a chance that the keeper saved, but I think he also had a chance where he slipped earlier in the game a little bit just before taking it. I don't know if that's the same one.
Was it the same one? Yeah, it was the same one.
So it was, for him to get that and for how good he's been as well, it was just, and again, everybody loves a last minute winner. Everybody, it's just, if you'd have scored it 20 minutes earlier, it'd have still been great, but it would have then been 20 minutes of going, oh, please, 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 to get it right at the end when we've all just and I think Coventry had just tweeted, Coventry well on top now. Come on, boys, we're about to do it. Goal Sheffield Wednesday. That is the best time, because they were starting to look a little bit. Beadle had just pulled off, I think, 2 really decent saves, and it was a bit shit, come on, let's not do this now. And then for us to be the one that go down the other end and do it, sensational. I just wish it would have been in front of the away fans, but it was still amazing.
Amazing. I'm going to say something now. And I wish and I hope that every football fan, and not just Wednesday fan, gets to experience an away end, a last minute goal to win only a league game. Look, my wife, she's blessed us with 2 great kids. I've been married a long time now, but I tell you what, an away end, when you need the points and you're not expecting it, and come and he scores in 90 plus 3, whatever it was, no better feeling when you've got some random
sexual chocolate ash.
Yeah, some random guy from Greensbury you've never seen before, or a woman from Shirebrook that's giving you a hug and whatever, saying, "Oh, come on Wednesday, all that, mate." Oh, a little bit of a tear, of course, every time. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. No better place on earth, I tell you, for an away fan to experience that. It's great.
Was it a good one? Was it a limmery, as it were?
Oh yeah. It was limbs all over.
Limbs, beaucoup des
limbs on toast.
Limbs on toast. It was because it. Yes, I like I said, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to go home happy with a point. But when that happens, and obviously they didn't really have any chance to come back, and you knew it was a 3-pointer, which has put us 7 points out of 9. It's fantastic running to the international break. It was fantastic, absolutely fantastic, and I love it. And that's what you hope for. And I'll shut up now.
You said that, Ash, but I turned to Mrs. and I said, you know what the great thing is about us being 2-1 up with virtually no time left, is that we won't lose the game. And she's like, what you had about? I said, well, because, we even at 2-1 up with seconds left, it's they'll go straight out the other end and make it 2-2 or something. We've been conditioned to these sort of things, aren't we, being Wednesday fans? But I think for me, it was just, and I've got nothing against Coventry City. I'm glad they're back in the Championship. They didn't belong in League One as such. But, we played them 3 times, or was it 3 times last season? Might have even been 4. I don't know. It felt like
we've played them 4 times, John, since Boxing Day last year.
Yeah, and we didn't.
And that was our 5th.
Yeah, and when you get a team that's just consistently you can't beat, it's just nice to finally get that victory, and to do it in that fashion, as Ash said, I think you had it was great watching it on TV, but I can only imagine what it was like being in the away and seeing us score a last-minute winner for a change, because we've had so many against us over the years. And then all I could think about when Shea slid that into net was
I said Shea.
Oh,
lovely.
Oh,
Have you had? How long have you had that queued up, John? That was
56 minutes.
Oh, I tell you what, we're not going to be able to monetize this episode now because we'll get done for copyright. You know what I mean? Happens all the time. I enjoyed that. Ashley, is Glenn, who's popping these comments in, is he the guy you did hello from the other side with? Is he?
No, it's not.
Or is he?
He's just a long. He's a long time listener and a long term commenter. I think it was from. It may have been from the first game last season. Yeah. He's come on randomly, but anyone's welcome here. We're a little happy family.
I tell you what, John, you're also getting a lot of love from the comments as well for your musical interlude as well. So if four non-blondes, I said Shay, I said Shay, starts getting sang at Hillsborough, you can claim that one, mate. You can have.
Well,
that
I've been trying for years to get a song going down, so maybe I finally got it.
Absolutely love it. Now. We talked about it already. I don't think there's much else to discuss about the Coventry game. We spoke about the Mark Robbins' comments afterwards about saying that we were the dirty ones and that's what you're going to get. But I said it was more them, if I'm honest, and the fact that we're probably just sick of playing each other. There's always going to be a tear up in terms of Sheffield Wednesday Coventry, but at least it's not Fleetwood. So what was that one? Sorry, from Wicker Man, that comment there, Ash.
It's a bit high pitched for a bunch of blokes at the footy and women.
Yeah. I genuinely struggled singing that. So John put a voice note in after he scored, and I was trying to sing it for the rest of the day. And like I say, I was on all inclusive. I was struggling. But listen, let's. So anyway, like Ash says, 7 points out of a possible 9 on a week that I thought we'd have really struggled to take home more than 2 or 3, if I'm honest. A really successful week for Sheffield Wednesday, and we've also got Paul Valentin and Danny hitting their 50th mark. Chaz, how have they got to 50? Where's this last year? Oh God, what is happening? How are they at 50?
I think it's more surprising for Valentin because he was signed in the in the Cisco era, where he largely went, kind of. He was very missable for that first chunk, so it almost feels like we've only really seen the Valentin we've got now for a shorter period. So for him to get to 50, but yeah, 550. That's what we need.
Wasn't Delgado a part? It was kind of like him and Delgado, and you didn't know which one was
remember
playing.
him?
Yeah, exactly.
Throwback.
In the lost property box with Alman Abdi and Herbie Emmanuelson. Yeah, but
he was. You saw him in some cup games, and it was, and I think he's really fought to be where he is now. He could have easily been like he was like fighting for man of the match in all week, and I really do think, massively rate him. And he just puts a shift in, and it's just really nice to see players like that just really put a shift in. But yeah, the big 5-0.
Can't believe it. Can't believe it. Ashley, I am being woofed at by a dog, and here is your opportunity now to talk to us about our charity endeavours. While the dog in the background gets
you haven't got
shifted.
A dog, Daniel.
I know, right? So has anybody come across this app?
Oh shit! Right.
Has anybody come across this app called Rover? Has anybody seen it?
Is that where you park your car on your driveway?
No, it's where you borrow a dog for the day and charge somebody 30 quid for it. It's mint. So every now and again, I get dogs sent around the house, and these dogs just come round.
You're into dogging then, are you, Dan? Is that what you're
saying? Just for the day. And
and your 20s and 30s, right? Getting. No.
Listen, I was young. I needed the money, but this one here is just like having a dog about the place, and this one's a fucking nightmare. And it's bit me already. But Ash, talk about our charity endeavours, please.
Yeah, no problem. I know I mentioned it started last week. It's going to start the Barnes game, Burnley game on the. Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, we're partnering with Pact, the charity that we did the egg drop for last season as well. We're wanting your help to help them. So basically, they all the families that register with Pact when they've got a child that's been diagnosed with cancer is that they give them a welcome pack, which contains all the essentials that you wouldn't probably think to want to go and buy or order or anything when you're going through a pretty stressful time, as it is for these guys. So Pact just give them all the essentials, deodorant, shower gel, shampoos, things like that, just to get them by. And we're helping them, and you're helping them if you can, that is, to donate these. So from the 19th of October, the Burnley game, for the next 4 home games, we're going to be having a donation station set up in the Megastore. So just take a brand new, unused, please, deodorant, shampoo, anything like that, and just drop it off. It'll be more than appreciated, and we'll try and get these people lots of stuff for them to help distribute. So yeah, that's it. We're looking forward to all the donations from you guys. That'll be massive help. Thank you very much. Donation
station in the Megastore. Bloody hell, Ash, you've been making some contacts while I've been sunning myself. Fair play, sir.
You haven't seen what I've made or what I'm going to be making. It's a homemade donation station, mate.
Is it got my face on it doing a thumbs up pose, and you have to put it in my belly?
No, you're thankfully you're nowhere near it, Dan.
Well, I feel like it might be a fruitful endeavour and not get punched by children. Although, do you remember back in the day, you used to have those things that were like in really crap places where you'd put like a 2p in something, it'd spin round and round and round, or there'd be some weird little animation that it'd do. Why were they so fascinating for kids? Why? You're just watching a penny go round the tube and you're like, yeah, that is sick. That is. Look at that. Yeah, go on.
Well, the one where you put like a pound in to go and press like a 1p into a square shape by turning this wheel thing. Remember that one?
Like museums and that, you get a squash penny, but it costs you £1 for a penny.
But it costs you £1.
So like,
ridiculous. Who's got quids to spare like that? Anyway, sorry. Ashley, that's a great cause. Thank you so much for sorting that out. Really appreciate it. Does anybody else have any other business?
Nope.
What's that, Ash? Tell me what that says.
Mads Ward's but come on, Wendy's. Let's fill Ash's living room with all our unwanted Christmas.
Yes. Toothpaste.
Oh my God, Ash. Imagine if you did this in January, it'd just be African Links box set.
Oh, get Cranners on.
Oh, get it on. Get them all in. It'd be absolutely
in
stunning.
Style of Bob Geldof.
My nan went rogue this year and got me Atlantis. I was absolutely raging. I had to go out and get my own. But listen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. And again, it's been a really successful week for Sheffield Wednesday. Please, once again, vote for us in the Football Content Awards because, all this charity stuff that Ash has managed to put together, I genuinely like it to be the coup de grace, the crowning piece of what we're trying to achieve. And that doesn't mean we're going to stop there either, because what I want to do is win more awards because I really
that's what it's all about.
And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. I'm also going to clip a moment of Charlie saying stupid woke bullshit, which I really enjoyed. So listen, thanks a lot for joining us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. See you later.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday Week, bringing you football analysis.
He came in. I think he scored a goal.
Bringing you banter.
Yeah.
Bringing you responsible life hacks.
Met you wonderful souls at 10 a.m. for some shots.
The Wednesday Week. 1, 2, 3, 4 live. Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there, podcasts, etc.
The Wednesday Week 24-25 season. Join us.
Put on your podcast.